Okay, so it's this is the next bite of how I'm putting together this wildlife dip pool section. In between showers, in between me and Des having 2 cups of tea, I've managed to get this done. Now, it's rained on and off for the last 4 hours, so it's really slowed me down. But nevertheless, I said I would keep doing regular updates and do regular little chunky bites so it was easier for you to follow me. And with that in mind, here we go. Now, what have I done? Well, I've dug out this section. So if you refer back to the last video I did, you'll see the shaping of the video, the shaping of the bed rather. And I've done that. I've cut it out, I marked it, took it out and set about digging out that section. So I've dug out the first section, which is quite low. Well, I say quite low, it's about, I'd say about 7 inches, 8 inches that I've dug down. And then from there, what I've done is I've dug out the dip pools, which I talked about. I've highlighted them in yellow here, so it's easier for the viewer to see it. There's a small one there and a slightly larger one there. Now, what you've got to bear in mind is once I put the pond liner into these, it's going to make it slightly smaller. So I've gone a little bit deeper than you'd think I'd need to. But I've had to do that because don't forget, once the pond liner's in, there's going to also be gravel in here and big chunky cobbles, all different types of stone really is going to be put around here. Now I've decided, having seen this, and I've got a much better dustbin lid for doing this, a more older, deeper dustbin lid in another part of the garden. I'm going to exchange it for this, and I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that one as it is. I'm going to leave that dustbin lid there because I was just trialing it earlier and I thought, well, yeah, that looks quite nice, so we'll keep that as it is. Now what I've done, I didn't need to move anything or any soil away. Oh, let's move the crisp packet. I was supposed to move that before I started, but hey-ho. Anyway, so basically, I've taken out the soil, as you can see, and I didn't want to really move it anywhere else in the garden because I knew I needed to bank up that section there. So we'll go to the other side in a minute and have a look at that. And that's just what I've done. So I've banked it up. So what I've managed to do is put the soil in there, and because this was all over the place, that tree, that Corylus avellana there, it was too low round its roots. So I've managed to build the soil up around that as well. One of the downsides you must watch for when you're digging out this deep is that you're exposing subsoil, and that's less nutritious. So you need to bear that in mind if you're going to put it on top of your borders. Now I don't mind too much here because I know I'm going to enrich this over time with plant grow. And that's a mulch, and that will put the nutrients back into it. Any kind of nutrient-rich compost will do, but I like to use that one. So you can see here that what I've had to do is bank it up on this section here, and it's worked a treat. And it's got rid of all the spoil. So that's been raked. Now, normally I wouldn't rake all this. I wouldn't bother at this phase of raking this nice and even and level, like you can see it is here, nice and friable. I usually leave that a little bit while I'm working on the area, but for the purpose of this video, I thought it'd be better if I could do that. What I've also done at the moment is, because I'm thinking long term, I've also started removing plants. So I've taken Rudbeckia lanceolata herbstonner out of this section here, and some leucanthemums were in here as well. And I decided I want to put this back in, and this is the Miscanthus lutaria riparius I've talked about, the grass. And I want that there because when you look at it from up the garden, you'll spot this a mile away. But obviously one thing you can't do is put it in the garden. So I'm putting it back into this old oil drum, and I shall make sure it can't escape, and I shall plant it into that. And each year it should form a lovely, sort of skinny grass, but look tall. That'll look tall. But if you ever get this one, do not put it in the garden, as I've said many times. It'll eat you out of house and home. Anyway, so what we've done also is I've left the Rheum palmatum, because Rheum palmatum will look good against things like I said earlier about the grass in the other video, talked about it being next to that, good complementary plants. So we need little grassy type plants and little big plants like the Rheum. Hostas would do the same trick, big hostas, and hosta might end up in here. We don't know yet because we're still playing about with different designs. But from here, you can see it's just going to look superb. And the grass at the back looks fantastic. And so that's the next phase. So I just thought I'd do you a quick video bite of that to show you where I got. It's taken me approximately 2.5 to 3 hours if we take out the tea and the rain showers and the sitting down talking as well. but anyway, that's what we must do. But I put the bit of water in there just to show you that in these yellow sections it will have a very similar look, except it'll be surrounded by pebbles, cobbles, rocks, whatever I can get my hands on. And then over time I shall put in the liner. Now the liner is going to be a little bit problematic because of the way I've dug these out. So the line is going to prove to be a little bit of a challenge, but we shall deal with that as we get to it. And I shall show you how I'm going to tackle that. So there you go, the next soundbite. And there it is, absolutely great. Well, I love it. And just before I go, I've put the Arundo Donax, I've sat it in the soil. I will put that in over the weekend. I want it to get establishing. It is going to take some time. I've just got to be very careful not to crush it. And it just looks fantastic from wherever you look at this. And I've not looked at it up at the house yet, but I'm sure it looks okay up there as well. Tools are, yeah, before I go, again, here's the tools I've used. The sweeping brush on that path because I kept making a mess and Kathy goes a little bit loopy if I don't sweep it down. The line marker in that tin, which is the yellow. Then we've got Arnie, the grafter. I've used a fork, I've used a rake, 2 types of rake, a spade and the half mooner, as I showed you earlier. These are all the tools that I've used. Nothing mechanical, all doable. You just need to take your time, believe you can do it and just get on with it. And if you make mistakes along the way, so what? No one's going to know because you know, they won't know what you meant to do. So yeah, that's looking great, and I shall carry on again tomorrow. And if I get any more further, because I'm kind of stumped at the minute until I get the actual pond line in, then I shall do another video and just show you how far I've got. So I hope you've enjoyed that soundbite, and I'll talk to you later. Ta-da!